congratulations on Heroes. I can't wait to watch it. Video games have been a huge part of my life, and the music is very iconic. How do you begin to create a show like this?
Well, I mean, it's been 20 years in the making, really. I was the first to ever do the early Final Fantasy concerts in 2004 in Los Angeles. So just uh, just been plugging away at this for a very long time. So with dear friends music from Final Fantasy to more friends music from Final Fantasy to play a video game symphony, which was really the first fully orchestral visual presentation of a multitude of video games being featured as part of a concert. That was in 2006 in Chicago, with just everyone was there who's really. Uh, it was an industry giant meeting. Nobuo Uematsu, Yasunori Mitsuda, Marty O'Donnell, Michael Salvatore, Jason Hayes. The list just really went on and on and on. It was an amazing collection of some of the most famous composers in the industry. Koji Kondo made a special his first stateside appearance at that concert, performing on the piano melodies from Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, which kind of segues into the Legend of Zelda 25th anniversary concerts that I produced, as well as the orchestral CD that accompanied the Skyward Sword bundle, to the Legend of Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses concerts, where I did over 300 shows worldwide with that touring property. So yeah, this show is really everything that I've ever could imagine for a video game music concert. I have, you name it, I have it. I have 15 of the top 20 titles of all time as part of this program. So just really excited, and I can't wait to get Baltimore under our belts this Friday. It's going to be one of those shows where we're going to be constantly working out, improving the show. So by the time we get to Cincinnati and Atlanta, the show is just going to be remarkable. We're making some changes as far as the content's concerned, where we're moving away from incorporating IMAG of the orchestra and the conductor. We're moving all the way to basically moving to nothing but FMV and gameplay footage throughout. So there'll be no transitions to the orchestra, no cuts to the orchestra. It's going to be full on FMV, like I said, and gameplay footage, as well as illustrations and artwork from the series or the games that we represent. This show is unique in a lot of ways. So what I've done is, as opposed to kind of the best of video game music concerts, I've moved away from that. So what I did is I tapped Nigel Carrington of Dear Esther fame, who he was the narrator for that game. And I also tapped Jessica Curry's amazing score for that game. And I've taken Nigel Carrington and I've had him recorded him as the voice of this journey, this hero's journey. Are you familiar with Joseph Campbell by chance?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I've done is I took his monomyth from A Hero's Journey and I've repurposed that framework to tell our story, and the heroes of this show are your video games. So like for example, each chapter in that hero's journey, I've selected a video game that best fits that particular chapter. And
Okay.
so that's what I've done with this show. So the narrations are recorded by Nigel Carrington, like I said, who's a BAFTA award-winning artist. And I've taken the music from Jessica Curry, and I've had that being performed live, very very low levels, with the narration over the top of that. And then what we do is we use the visuals during those narrations from Dear Esther, and then we go into the particular piece that we've chosen for that in that chapter. So really excited. It's really just it's going to be a wonderful thing. We're doing some world premieres of Blades as part of this show from the Elder Scrolls series. We're also doing a new arrangement of Fallout 4. It's a Fallout 4 suite from Inon Zur, of course, who's also represented with Dragon Age music as well as part of the concert. But yeah, are you familiar with the titles that we feature as part of the show?
Most of them, yes. I've played most of these games, so I can't wait to see the music played live.
Yeah, which game are you most looking forward to?
Ooh, off the top of my head, I can't remember all of them. There's a few
Yeah.
of them that I really did enjoy. I think Metal Gear Solid, I think, is one of the titles that you mentioned in the press release.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Metal Gear Solid is one of our just one of our best pieces. But why don't I just give you a rundown of all the games that we have as part of this concert? So we have Metal Gear Solid, we have Konami's Castlevania, which is also a very important piece of the program. We have Terra's theme from Final Fantasy. We have the Chrono Suite from Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. We have BioShock
Mhm.
from 2K. We have Journey from PlayStation. We have The Shadow of the Colossus from PlayStation. We have what else do we have from PlayStation? We have uh, I think I just said all of them. We have also Portal 2. We have man, there's so many. Halo,
Halo, yes.
yes.
Mass Effect,
Trying to think. Guild Wars
Guild
2. Um, we
Dragon
have
Age.
Skyrim, we have Dragon Age, we have Oblivion for this particular Baltimore show. Uh, Starting in Cincinnati onward, we'll have Starfield, which is an unreleased game. It comes out September 6th, so that's a huge addition to the concert series.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean the list goes on and on and on. We're really excited. We're adding new titles. We're gonna have Silent Hill music as part of this concert eventually. We're gonna also have uh, the World of Warcraft again as part of this concert. We're gonna add Diablo as part of this concert. So yeah, we're constantly Mass Effect's a part of this concert as well. So yeah, we have just a nonstop hit list of great games as part of this concert. So really excited.
So, like you mentioned before, this concert experience is a journey. You create such a connected storyline. How do you bring in these iconic songs from games everybody knows and just make it into a whole different journey that people go through?
Yeah, well, we've actually worked with these composers. So we work with the developers, we also work with the producers, we also work with the actual composers themselves, and they consult on the arrangements that we create. For example, Inon Zur is very involved in our concert. So we feature out of all the composers we feature, he has the most titles and that he composed for as part of this concert. So that relationship is awesome. But no, we talk to these composers. We work this with these composers, and that's part of the process. We don't do anything without the express permission of the licensors, and we also love to work with the original composers. That way, it's truly authentic, and it represents their music the way that they want it to be represented.
Definitely. And from having watched the Final Fantasy uh a while back, this experience, like, it's very visually stunning as well as the performance. How do you begin to capture the impact that the sound gives you with these great visuals that you guys make? Do you guys have a plan going in, or is it something that you just play by ear as you start producing this?
No, absolutely. It's a good, valid question. No, we have a tried and true system. So, what we do is we take the original bips and bleeps or the original sound bites, and we basically turn those into full orchestral arrangements. So I have a whole team. They're what you call takedowns,
Mhm.
and what we do is we have our arrangers and our orchestrators creating this music. Um, and then what we do is after we've made the arrangements and they've been blessed by the composers and the publishers, once we get that approval, then we move on to actually creating a MIDI file or an MP3 of that actual arrangement. And then what we do is we create the parts so that the musicians can get the parts to start practicing before the performance. This is all done about a month before the shows even takes place. So we do that, and then what we do is we have my music editor create what's called a click track, and that's what the conductor will use to conduct the orchestra with. So that's really how this all works. And then what we do is that MIDI file I spoke of earlier, we take that and we give that to our editor, our video editor. So our video editor is taking that MP3 or MIDI file and they're editing the FMV or gameplay footage and illustrations from the particular title, and they're putting that all together in perfect sync with the music. So that's how our process is done. This is all well done in advance of the shows. We have a very tried and true formula for success. I've been doing this for 20 years, so it's evolved, but at this point we've kind of mastered it. And then what we're doing is at the rehearsals and at the actual shows, just imagine like a Hollywood film recording session. We're doing it the exact same way that they would do a Hollywood film scoring session, except for we're doing it live with an audience.
Definitely. And so many iconic artists have made music for these video games. You know, work have you do bring it on sometimes special performers to these concerts. How do
Yeah.
you decide who you bring in, or how do you decide, at what point you bring somebody onto the stage with the orchestra?
Yeah, it's really about just scheduling. It's obviously everyone has really very busy schedules, and some are more about promoting their music, so they like to make in-person um, visits.
Yeah.
So it's really up to the personality of the composer, and of course, ultimately, it falls on their schedule, and also just travel. What's convenient? Most of these composers, for example, a lot of the Japanese video games, they're actually based out of Tokyo,
Mhm.
in Japan. So, and then of course, a lot of the other ones, the stateside ones, are mostly based out of LA. So if there's a show in LA, it's not as difficult for them to get there. If there's a show in Tokyo, then it's very easy for them to get to. But yeah, those are really the 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 basically what determines whether or not a composer is going to be present at the show.
Awesome. And video games have gone way up into the forefront in Hollywood right now. We have the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is probably the best received video game movie to date.
Yeah, but
You
there's
know,
one important thing that you should note is that 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 whole score, there's not one mention of Koji Kondo.
no,
And that's truly sad to think that, a big company like that is not even acknowledging the original composer of those works, and that's kind of a tragedy, to be honest with you. And that's really where I realized we have a long way to go,
Mhm.
and that's what I strive to do, is to bring recognition to these Mr. Kondo himself, and that's what I try to strive to do through these concerts.
Awesome. And you seem to be a video game fan. What video games did you grow up playing, and why? When did you start getting such a admiration for the music of it?
Yeah, I'm gonna I started, I'm old, so I'm 46 years old. So my first experience was Pong, ColecoVision, Commodore 64, NES. Sega Genesis 16-bit. You know, those are all the games. Those are all the consoles that I grew up playing and loving. So you know, it's reflective of the games that I grew up playing. So Castlevania, for example, you know, the Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, you name it, Contra, um, I to Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, Altered Beast, Street Fighter, you know, those are all the games that I grew up playing regularly. When I got a little bit older and I started working for PlayStation in my early 20s, I of course started playing a little bit more Japanese games. So, for example, SquareSoft. Final Fantasy is probably when I started getting into Final Fantasy, more RPG type games. I also was very fascinated with Japanese culture, and I learned how to speak, read, and write. And I also lived in Tokyo, so that really kind of propelled my appreciation for video games. And of course, I was working for PlayStation in Foster City in California. So those were all my experiences. So it was kind of uh, ingrained in me to be an appreciator of video games. And then naturally, as I got more into the music production, I started taking more notice to the video game music itself and how I can make the people appreciate, and also utilizing orchestra and choirs to really bring this music to life. And that's really what I did with Final Fantasy in 2004. And I haven't looked back ever since.
Awesome. And as you said, you bring a lot of this music to life. Do you prefer having music that's already created, like the Final Fantasy, where it is larger than life, and you have the video game to look back on, or do you prefer like the 8-bit games where you have to kind of bring a new take on this, or bring it into a modern age?
Yeah, well, we like challenges. You know, we like to take those bips and bleeps and turn them into full orchestral scores. That's really the challenge and the beauty of the art of what we do. The fact that people can, you know, reminisce and get nostalgic about these musics that for forever they only heard the bips and bleeps, but now they can actually hear a full orchestra playing it in their local concert hall with these amazing state of the art, bigger than life 18 by 32-foot screens that we project these visuals onto. And of course, it's doing it in perfect sync with the music. What could be better than that?
Definitely. When you're creating this, do you ever get the urge to just go back and play the game?
Oh, of course. We actually have to, you know, when we're putting together these FMVs and these gameplay footage, you know, when we're cutting all this together, you know, I have to be reminded of the most memorable scenes and how I can bring that to the audience. So yeah, of course, we definitely are sometimes painstakingly we're capturing footage, you know, and you know, we're ripping old footage from games and you know, using emulators and things like that so that way we can capture it, you know. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And then of course it's even more fun when you see the finished product, you know, and we're really able to, you know, make everyone's dreams come true. You know, who would have thought when we were playing Super Mario Brothers or The Legend of Zelda original NES, the gold cartridge, who would have thought that I'd be producing this music for thousands of people to enjoy all over the world?
Definitely. And for people like me, video games is a pastime. Do you have a go-to game where you just need to relax and decompose from your day?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not gaming as much as I used to, but you know, I enjoy playing with my daughter. You know, we've always kind of gravitated towards the Legend of Zelda together. So, you know, for me, that's kind of been a bond. But Pokemon too, you know, those are also games that I appreciate playing with my daughter. But I love Smash. You know, I love Street Fighter. I like kind of battle games, fighting games,
Yeah.
where you can assume different characters. And I think Super Smash for me is really cool because there's just so many characters in it now. You have, Cloud from Final Fantasy. You have there's just a lot of cool characters that are a part of that game that you know that I like to be reminded of all those games that I enjoyed as a kid. So yeah, I would say Super Smash kind of gets me nostalgic the most.
Awesome. And when you go to these concerts, the experience is incredible. I don't think there's a bad seat in the house, but
Yeah.
for you, where's the perfect location to watch it?
Wow. Perfect location for me. Usually I used to be a little bit I didn't really like watching my own shows. So I kind of retreated, to occup I usually would do something kind of behind the scenes. But as I get older and the more I do this, I'm constantly trying to improve upon my craft. And so definitely I'm working I'm more present at the show when it's being performed. So I usually like to sit stage left or on stage right there, and I also sometimes oftentimes I'll help stage manage. So yeah, I guess I'm right there, right either stage left or stage right, depending on where we have our video set up backstage.
Definitely. Well, congratulations on Heroes. I've been to other shows before. These are incredible shows to watch.
Thank you.
Definitely worth the money. And for any gamer, this is like a dream come true. So thank you very much for producing these.
It's my pleasure. I just want to point out, just so you know, in Baltimore, for example, we have a 52-person choir. We have 69 musicians. We're going to have over 120 people on stage for this
Wow,
performance in Baltimore, our premiere show. That's not a small feat to have that many musicians, that many talented performers on stage. There's nothing really quite like it. So
well, thank you very much for your time.
thank you. Thank you, Jesus.